This is a beginner and casual guide to Preservation Evoker in the War Within Season 3. Now, Preservation Evoker is quite a complex healer, so I've dumbed this rotation down a little bit to get you started. It's still going to work very well if you are a very casual player, of course. And it will work for both Raiding and Mythic Plus, in which we're going to be doing something slightly different in each. What we have on the left here is the top priority, and the right is going to be your bottom priority for Raiding to start with. By the way, sorry if I can't talk properly in this, I'm recovering from surgery at the moment. There's a pinned comment explaining all of that if you are interested or want to support the channel. But, going back, so number one, we have Verdant Embrace. As you can see, we fly over an ally and we heal them. How lovely. So, I just cast this at myself and, I don't fly anywhere, but if I had an ally, I would actually fly to them. And then we have what we call an Empower spell, Dream Breath. As you can see here, you inhale and gather the power of the dream, releasing to exhale, and we heal everyone in a cone in front of us. So as you can see, 1, 2, and 3, empower. So as you can see, number 1 heals 50,000 instantly, and an X amount over 16 seconds. Number 2 heals X amount instantly, blah, 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 blah. So basically, we're going to use this at rank 1 empower, and we're going to use this as much as we possibly can. And that is what we call our Empower spell. Then we have Engulf. We have up to 2 charges of this, where we engulf our target in Dragon Flame. We can either do damage or heal. Obviously, we're healing. So for each of our periodic effects on the target, the effectiveness is increased, and it does require Dream Breath or Fire Breath to be active on the target. So basically, we use Dream Breath on the target, and then you use Engulf on them. So you want to make sure you use Engulf on your target with Dream Breath. Again, I can't really show it to you because Dream Breath works in front of me and there's no one in front of me. Then what we're going to do is use Temporal Anomaly. And this is going to send forward a vortex of temporal energy, absorbing damage on us and our allies in its path. And when we send that out, what we then want to do is use Echo. Now, Echo is an essence spell, and that means that we're going to be using this resource here that's regenerating on its own, Essence, okay? So that's another one of our main resources. Wrap an ally with temporal energy, healing them and causing our next healing spell to cast an additional time on that ally at double the healing. So basically, you want to get out as many echoes as you can, and then what we're going to do is we're going to consume those echoes with something called Reversion. Reverse an ally's injuries, instantly healing them for some of the damage they've recently taken, and an additional mount. When it critically heals, its duration is extended. And that's going to absorb our Echo on the target. Because as you can see here, Echo causes our next healing spell to cast an additional time on that ally. We then use Reversion, that absorbs that up and does even more healing. In any downtime, you can use this spell here, Living Flame. This is just like a little heal or does damage to an enemy, and it has a very nice little passive that can happen here. And that is called Essence Burst. Living Flame has a 20% chance, and Reversion has a chance to make your next Essence ability free, and that can stack twice, and that is called Essence Burst. As you can see right here, I have an Essence Burst. I can use my Echo for free, and it won't use any Essence up. Now, remember I said that I want you to get as many echoes out as possible, but obviously you can only really use a few. Now, don't forget, I also said before that to get out your Temporal Anomaly. So when you fly out that Temporal Anomaly, if we look at our talents here, you can see that Temporal Anomaly will actually apply Echo at 30% effectiveness to the first 5 allies it passes through. So you've actually got an extra 5 going out from that spell that I told you to cast, before you then use your echoes to get more, echoes out. With that Essence Burst as well here, each time you gain it, your critical heals are actually much more effective. Instead of the usual 200%, it's 260%. Remember I also said you use Verdant Embrace before you cast your Dream Breath. Well, there's also a reason for that. Verdant Embrace will actually increase the healing of your next Dream Breath by 40%. Meaning you always want to use Verdant Embrace and then Dream Breath in order to get the massive extra healing on your Dream Breath. There's a few other talents that are interesting, but TLDR, basically, people that have Reversion on them, we're going to do increased healing to as well. And that's the basis of Raid healing. Let's now go into the Mythic Plus build, where we're going to swap over from Flame Shaper with Engulf. We're going to lose Engulf, and we're going to get Chrono Warden. And your Living Flame is now going to be called Chrono Flames. So remember your little passive one, Living Flame? That's now Chrono Flames. So because we've only got 5 people in the raid, we play a bit in the group. In Mythic Plus, we do a bit differently. When there's heavy damage, I want you to use a different Empower spell, Spirit Bloom. Now, when we're using this, the Empower depends on how many allies we need to heal. So if there's group-wide damage and everyone's been hurt, then really you're going to use it at level 4. But if there's only 2 or 3 people, it's going to be obviously level 2 or 3. Basically, divert spiritual energy, healing an ally, and it jumps to injured allies nearby. So depending on how many allies you have to heal, depends on how much we empower that one. Again, use Dream Breath at rank 1, empower as much as you can. Or if there's massive damage, you can actually use it at maximum empower to get a lot of instant healing. So it really depends on the dynamic there. We can use Reversion on our active party members. Use your Echo for minor healing. It's a bit different to how it works in Raid. We're not trying to ramp up with loads of Echoes as much as possible. Use Verdant Embrace for a quick burst of single target healing. You want to use this as much as you possibly can on targets of the most healing needed. And again, Chrono Flames is going to be, your filler spell. And again, that will grant you Essence Burst on your Echoes. And that's really the only changes we're making for Mythic Plus. Let's just go over the utilities and other things we have available. If you're doing damage and you're on the move, in Mythic Plus, you can also use Azure Strike if you'd like. Blessing of the Bronze will buff your allies for an hour, always use it. Cauterizing Flames is one of my favourite dispels in the game. It will remove all bleed, poison, curse, and disease effects, and heals them as well. Fury of the Aspects is literally Bloodlust. Most powerful buff in the game, increasing haste for everyone. Obsidian Scales are great defensive. Oppressing Roar, this is really good. This is actually going to increase the duration of crowd control that affects your enemies nearby. So if your allies are crowd controlling your enemies, this will actually increase that duration. Same as Quell, this is your interrupt. On a 40-second cooldown, you can interrupt your enemy spellcasting. Even as a healer, this is massively important that you help out with this because, let's be honest, if an enemy can't get a spell off, then it's going to be a lot less healing for you, so actually helping yourself anyway. We then have another cooldown, Renewing Blaze. This is going to basically heal back any damage that you take. Tip the Scales, compress time to make your next empowered spell cast instantly and at maximum power. In Mythic Plus, for example, I would use this on probably Spirit Bloom, if obviously you have massive AoE healing that you need to do and you want to heal a fourth ally. You can also use it on Spirit Bloom. For single target, use it on Dream Breath. Emerald Communion, you basically restore 20% health and some mana every few seconds. Overhealing is transferred to an injured ally. This is obviously very, very good as well. Neutralize, cleanse harmful effects from the target, removing all magic and poison. Not as amazing as Cauterizing Flame, but Cauterizing Flame is every minute. Naturalize is every 8 seconds. We also have Rewind, which is going to rewind some of the damage taken in the last 5 seconds by all of our allies, which is amazing. And we also have Stasis. We've got a lot of cooldowns, basically. Cause your next 3 helpful spells to be duplicated and stored in a time lock. You can reactivate it within 30 seconds to quickly unleash that healing. And lastly, Time Dilation. Stretch time around an ally for the next 10 seconds, causing half of the damage they would take to instead be dealt over 10 seconds. And that is it. That is all the cooldowns you've got. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, some of them aren't. What I would recommend, once you're more used to the rotations, you might want to go on to something a bit more advanced. This is, as it's quite a complex healer, I have shortened the kind of rotation and priority a little bit for more beginner players. But once you are more used to it, what I would recommend first doing is going through all of the talents and just reading through every single one and seeing how everything slots together like a jigsaw puzzle. Obviously, I've gone through quite a few of the talents, but not all of them, in both the Evoker and the Preservation Tree and the Hero talents, and any other passives that you have in here, which you have your Mastery and the Essence Burst, which I've basically explained a few over here. And then you might want to upgrade. Maybe you're happy at that point, or maybe you'd want to go on to something a bit more advanced. But that is entirely up to you. If you're looking for other specs and classes, then check on the playlist you now see on screen. And if you'd like to get the UI, then you can get this on my Patreon, excluding these 2 big bars in the middle, of course.